If you're about my age, I'm gonna guess there's a pretty good chance you did not play what is now probably my favorite Pokemon spin-off game. But I don't blame you. When it first came out, I ignored it too. The Pokepark series features two games developed by Creatures Inc. for the Wii. Pokepark Pikachu's Adventure, which came out in North America in 2010, and Pokepark 2 Wonders Beyond, which came out in 2012. Here's how the trailer for Pikachu's Adventure begins. If you keep watching further, you do see some gameplay that actually looks pretty interesting, but it's clear from the first few seconds who the game is made for. And here's how the first teaser for Wonders Beyond begins.
Welcome to Pokepark. It's up to Pikachu and his pals to rescue the missing Pokemon and save the day.
The games are clearly very cute, but I was a university student when these games came out. I was obviously not the target audience. I was much more interested in Heart Gold and Soul Silver and the Generation 5 games during this time. And I didn't think about either of those games for almost a decade, until earlier this year when my friend Charon made a joke about Wonders Beyond being the open-world Pokemon game that everyone wanted. And that led to our friend and luxury patron Ethan from Chicago playing it on his Twitch. I didn't have to watch much to be convinced that it was a game I needed to play for myself. Because even though Charon was joking and even called it probably the least interesting Pokemon game in history, he was actually right. Well, not right about it being the least interesting Pokemon game in history. Even he doesn't agree with that anymore. But Wonders Beyond really is an open-world action RPG, and so much more. And in case it wasn't obvious already, spoiler alert for Pokepark 2. For those of you who don't know much about this game but want to watch the video anyway, here's a quick summary. You start playing as Pikachu, and you and your friend Piplup get invited to Wish Park where you can have endless fun. But it turns out that the Pokemon in Wish Park are being bewitched so that they want to stay forever. You try to run out, but Piplup has to sacrifice himself to get you to escape. So you get Oshawott, Snivy, and Tepig to join you as playable characters, befriend dozens of other Pokemon, and together you work to rescue Piplup and the rest of the Pokemon from Wish Park. This adventure is made all the more pressing by a dark vortex that appears in the sky because of the existence of Wish Park, and it threatens to destroy the world. It's not a long game, but it's not that short either. I completed the main story in about 7 hours, and then completed the post-game story in another 2 or 3 hours, but that's without being completionist. And there's a ton of really cool gameplay packed into it, including things that are just getting added to the main series now, like overworld battles that don't have their own separate screen. We know from the Pokemon Legends reveal trailer that it will feature overworld battles, but here's a game from 10 years ago that already did that. In Pokepark, you can even hit bystanders, or make your opponents hit them, and if you do, sometimes they get angry and fight back. I wonder how long before that gets added to the main series. There's a movable camera. Granted, it's not a totally free camera, but it's done in the kind of classic Zelda style where you can reset the camera to position it directly behind you. Wonders Beyond also has a really good implementation of field moves, something that Pokemon has kind of struggled with in different ways throughout the generations, whether it's HM moves restricting your team building too much, or Sword and Shield just not having any field moves. The setup of Pokepark is too different to really apply to the main series because you play as the Pokemon and not as a trainer. You only have 4 playable characters and their movesets don't change, so you really can't make a one-to-one comparison. But the implementation is really natural. There are objects that are powered by electricity, so you can use Pikachu's Thunderbolt. There are bodies of water that you can cross, and Oshawott can swim. There are high ledges that you can't reach, but Snivy's Leaf Tornado gives it an extra jump boost. There are rocks and other barriers in your way, but Tepig's Flame Charge is strong enough to smash them. And you frequently encounter these obstacles before you befriend the Pokemon that can clear them, and so you have to backtrack and explore of your own initiative to see what was beyond them. There are optional side quests, like showing this Maractus where its friends are waiting, or carrying this tired Pidove. Okay, they're not the most complex side quests, but they are there, and some of them do take the extra effort. For example, this Joltik asks you to help find its siblings, but Joltik are so small, they're pretty easy to miss, especially when they're spread out across the whole park. There are really fun minigames like this one where you shoot at nuts and cake. Or this one, where you fly through a space track and collect gems that a seismitoad, of all things, is throwing at you. And although I haven't had a chance to try it myself, these games do have multiplayer. Oh, you like Pokemon Snap? Well, this game has photography. A few Pokemon will ask you to show them photos of other Pokemon. Or is platforming more your thing? Yes, there are 2D platforming sections in this game, and they can be surprisingly challenging. There are even Dynamax Pokemon in this game. Okay, not really Dynamax, but after you defeat the big boss of Wish Park, Darkrai, it turns into the really big boss of Wish Park and fights you again. And yes, this game has the single most important element of a successful Pokemon game. Umbreon's in it. Sweet. Okay. It is basically time to end the stream. Are you following me? Umbreon is following me! This is amazing! This game even has following Pokemon! Then there's the story. It's a fairly simple story, as you'd expect in a game for this target audience, but it's solid. Even though they don't spend too much time on it, issues around ethics and morality do come up in a pretty unavoidable way. For example, when you need to ask Clink, Clang, and Clink Clang for help to run an elevator, they make it pretty clear that they were working against their will. Also, Darkrai, the main antagonist, is kind of Machiavellian. It has a good goal. It wants to create a place where everyone can have fun, but it goes about it in a terrible way and keeps other Pokemon there against their will. But Darkrai has a change of heart at the end. It realizes that the world that it created isn't what it meant it to be, and even sacrifices itself to save everyone else at the end. It's a nice moment. And even the post-game is done really well. There are more activities that you can do, more Pokemon that you can befriend, but also a really good continuation of the main story. The four protagonists, understanding that Darkrai had seen the error of its ways, decide to find a way to bring it back, even though everyone pretty much agrees that it's impossible. Spoiler alert, it isn't. I honestly loved this game. It's not perfect, there are things that I didn't like about it, but nothing that I actually disliked. I'm not a fan of playing as the Pokemon, or of the Pokemon's cries being their own names rather than their main series cries or more animalistic sounds, but I understand that those choices were probably good for the target audience. The one thing that holds it back, in my estimation, is how toned down the difficulty is. Every Pokemon only has 3 moves, most battles and games of chase are pretty easy to win, and even the platforming sections, they give you so much time that you can usually mess up once or twice and still beat the clock comfortably. But even then, Pokepark 2 is a really fun, casual game, still manages to give you a really good sense of accomplishment, and again, I don't know that I can really fault it for catering to a younger audience like it intended to. Oh yeah, did I mention the absolutely adorable load screens? I think by the time Legends comes out, the main series will have incorporated most of the really cool innovations that this game included. Except for platforming, but I'm not sure how that would fit. But I still 100% recommend this game to anyone who hasn't played it before, even if you just watched this entire video and now know everything about it. I still have not played the first Pokepark game, Pikachu's Adventure, but I've seen mixed reactions to it. And from what I understand, it's more isolated minigames rather than a big cohesive story, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna play it. If you played Pikachu's Adventure, let me know in the comments what you thought. And if you played Wonders Beyond, did you enjoy it as much as I did? I honestly don't know if I could have enjoyed it this much when it first came out, like 10 years ago. I don't know that I would have been ready for it. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Charon and luxury patron Ethan from Chicago for introducing me to this game. And of course, thank you to everyone who supports my work through Patreon and YouTube channel memberships. I'll see you in the next chapter.